So I went to Kansas City to go to the Midwest Game Fest, which is like CantCon, but run by different people, and they do a lot more like miniature battles. They got like super huge tables set up with little miniature terrain pieces like buildings and trees and like actual like hills and stuff. It is ridiculous. And then they bring their armies and they fight with each other and they like roll dice to see who wins. Except it's like super complicated.
Like games you play at the table?
They are tabletop games, yes, but they do not have a game board. Instead, they're like friggin' like a model of a landscape. Like somebody has gone in and taken foam and sculpted it and then layered it with like some kind of adhesive and then put on sprinkles of like little, green plastic shavings to make grass and then stuck actual like small trees into the foam and like created small build. And they do this across an entire table, like several table lengths worth.
Oh.
And then they'll take their model armies that they have purchased, assembled, and painted to look real, with like big, huge robo mechs and tiny little guys and tanks and whatever. And they'll just throw them all on the tables, set them up in like army formation and then say, okay, I'm now going to move these guys 3 inches this way and this guy 5 inches that way. And this guy flies over here and then he shoots his lasers at your guy and then he explodes.
Okay, you're at the Game Fest.
So I'm at the Game Fest. I was volunteering to run the CantCon table where we hand out information about our convention. And they also said that volunteers are allowed to sell their own stuff. If they have anything they want to sell, they can put it out at the table and sell it. So I was like, okay, well, then I'll just get all the art cards that I haven't sold yet and I'll put those up for sale. And what worked out pretty good last time was like selling them for like $5, and then on the last day of the convention I would sell them for like 4 or 3. This time around I wanted to try something different. I've been experimenting with a way of pricing where I basically say, how about you just pay me what you think it's worth? The first girl who looked at him was like, oh, I really like your artwork, you're really good, but I know that if I buy one, number one, I don't have enough money to really pay you what I think they're worth. But number two, I know that if I buy it, I'll just, go home and throw it into a pile of stuff I never look at. And I was like, I know, how about I do you one better and say that you can give me $1 and I'll just email it to you. That way it doesn't go in a pile and you can look at it whenever you want. And she was like, okay, that's a good job. And so I did that. And now I'm going to send her an email with the art in it. So that was cool. And then other people were like, oh yeah, $5, whatever. So that worked out pretty good. And then one guy was like, yeah, let me get 2. And how about $10 for each one? And I'm like, yeah, I'll take $10 for each one. I'm cool with that. Like I was excited because he decided to pay more than usual, which was really nice.
Yeah.
And then I met this guy. His name's Jeff Porter. He's a really awesome artist. He has worked with several game companies like Fantasy Flight and AEG for like board games and card games and stuff. And I really like Fantasy Flight and AEG as game companies. So the fact that he was able to get illustration jobs with them was really cool. And I was like, oh, cool, you've actually gotten fun jobs at the places I like. So I looked at his stuff and I talked to him about his process, and that was cool. He's a really good artist and I liked his stuff. And he was telling me all about how, he tries to submit to Paizo, or he tries to submit stuff to Wizards of the Coast, both of which are gaming companies that run like Pathfinder, the role-playing game, and Wizards of the Coast does Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering and other things like that. And so, but he says that it's really hard to get into those companies because they already kind of have a set of artists that they're working with and that they like. And also they seem to be pretty picky about the way that artists interpret their properties, their characters and stuff. Okay. And so as I was listening to him talk, I was like, I don't think I want to work for other people like that, because I would be drawing my version of their stuff, not my own stuff. And I like the idea of me doing my own stuff. I was also thinking that there's this other artist, Tony DeTirlizzi, who does really good art too. He's done stuff for Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering. And he's even had his own projects too, like the Spiderwick Chronicles and some other side stuff, and he publishes the books of his own art and things like that, which are like rarities. Like people don't tend to have the presence to actually do that kind of thing with their artwork, and people buy it. So you know, I was looking at what Jeff was doing, and I was thinking, man, if I had to just sit there and grind and grind and grind for years, just doing somebody else's stuff and never get around to mine, like, I feel like that would just be the same thing as just another job,
Right.
where I would have to do what somebody else told me to do and not really like be able to express myself creatively and do my own thing. And so I was like, you know, maybe I am okay with just having a regular just job to pay the bills and be good at what I do there, and, you know, let somebody else tell me what to do, but then do whatever I want on the side and just, you know, be creative in my own way. And then that way, when people start liking the stuff that I do for myself, then I can just do that all the time.
Yeah.
So, and it was also fun because when we were all done with the convention and Jeff was tearing down his booth and everything, I helped him put stuff away. And then I was like, so, you know, did you like the convention or whatever? He was like, yeah, I didn't really get to play very many games. And I was like, well, I brought some games and I didn't get to play those with anybody. You want to sit down and play something? And he was like, sure. So I pulled out this game I really like, Arcana. And it was made by AEG, one of the guys that he worked for. And he was like, oh yeah, I've seen this guy's art. I really like this guy's art. You know, I've talked to him. I've worked with him a little bit. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And so it was fun to play a game with another artist who could appreciate the artwork of a game that I liked because of the game was cool and the art was cool. And he was like, I met the guy. And I'm like, dude, this is like, the world of art is shrinking for me, and it's like I know a guy who knows the guy who made this game. That's so cool.
Because you've never played with you normally don't play with other artists who are as interested in the gaming as you are, right? Because you just game with other guys who just think it's fun to game, but aren't the artists.
Right. So this time it was fun because I got to play games with another artist who does art like the stuff that I like.
Well, that's good. I think that as far as your the job on the side just to do someone else's work, that's totally good. But I know that there is a way that all you have to do is just find the people who are interested in the stuff that you want to do.
Well, yeah, and that's why I'm saying I just keep doing my own thing until there are enough people who can pay me to do what I like, and then just do that.
Yeah.
But until I do that, I'm not just going to quit my job that I got right now and be like,
I'm not
no,
saying that, but I'm
screw
just
you
saying,
guys. I'm going to be poor forever. And then finally, when people realize that I'm awesome, they can pay me for my stuff.
I know. I mean, I'm trying to do the same thing. Well, I am doing the same thing. How about that?
There you go. Good job, Steve. Way to use present tense.
Present tense.
And I made like $35.
Good job.
So, because I actually sold some artwork. So that was good. It paid for the gas it took to get up there and back.
Okay.
But I did also get some good contacts with people, and actually, and I came back today and I found out that Jeff had sent me a friend request on Facebook.
Oh, you got yourself a friend.
I know, it made me happy.